Okay, good morning everyone. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick morning video. I just want to update everyone on this triple Q short that I put on last at the close, basically yesterday. Well, not really at the close. I put it on yesterday when we were right here in this kind of plateau area. It looks like we were going to get rejected right there, but we didn't. So this morning I stopped out for a small loss. You know, it ended up being about a loss of, it was like less than 0.5%. So just went ahead and stopped out of that because it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. So, you know, there's no trade as of right now that I have on this one. So we'll move on. Q's is continuing to move slightly higher. So we'll watch for the next rejection signal, but we don't have anything yet. There's no divergence. If I go to the daily here, you'll see that we've been building some negative divergence, but we don't have a new divergent high. So if you make a new high, you know, kind of pop above, even make a move above the all-time highs right here, that would be your divergent high. Then we'll look for a trend change or a breakdown. And that would be a longer term trade. But as of right now, I just don't see it. So we're going to go ahead and let this one go. Let's look at volatility, because if we're going to get a breakdown in the market, which I don't see it yet, but volatility should spike. UVXY, I've got a lot of trend lines going on, but we do have a gap right here on UVXY. And that gap was recently filled right there. So I would just watch that. That's really how I treat my level of support. The way that I see it is, yeah, you could be long right here at support, which is sitting on UVXY about 1274. But a break and a close on the daily chart below that, and you would want to go ahead and stop out, or at least I would stop out. We also have the lows right down here, which sit right about there, which could hold as support as well. Any kind of move below that, unless it's just a quick little whip down and then it recovers, I would definitely not want to be long volatility. So watch for that, but that is kind of the levels that I see, the lows, and then also this level right here where we're at this gap. Oh, also, I could probably go ahead and just get rid of this trend line here, and we can probably just extend this one out. Yeah, you can see it pretty much tagged that. So that's also a support line. We're kind of at dual support right now in this area. So potential, you know, I might actually start adding to a position or building a position. It'd be nice if I saw some signs of a breakdown though, which I just don't see in the SPY or the triple Qs. But they're, you know, we are at support here in UVXY. Quick little update on Nvidia. I actually stopped out of this one this morning as well. It looked like it was creating this bull flag, and looked like they made it right here. It looked like they wanted to come back down into the flag, but they didn't. They broke it out higher. So I went ahead and stopped out of that one. And I'll be looking for different setups, but this one is in the books for right now. XLV here still. This is the healthcare sector. You can see I pointed this out in the video yesterday. On the daily, we don't have negative divergence on the daily, so that's the one thing that I do. I mean, we have it if you go way back. If you look way back here, yes, there is negative divergence. So you could say that it is building, I suppose. And on the hourly here, we clearly have it here on the hourly. You can see right here just moving lower as momentum has, you know, this high here was a divergent high. So we have negative divergence on the hourly, and it is on the daily, I suppose. It's been extended for quite some time. So I'm just waiting for a break of this level, this price support. Right now it sits about 110.30. A breakdown and a sell signal will most likely fill these gaps. There's 3 gaps to fill on XLV, and I suspect if we do that, we're heading down to 97. So I'm looking for that trade. There is a setup here, and that would be about a 13% drop. We just don't have it yet. It's still kind of holding above support. Okay, BBY. I think this one fades, and this is why I think that we're going to get a breakdown here. We have this trend line that I have marked out going back to April. Reaction there, reaction. You can come in. We got another reaction here. So we moved our trend line down to capture this reaction, and that's the trend line that I have marked out that I think is pretty accurate. We undercut that trend line, excuse me, and then they've recovered the trend line just barely, but it's not impulsive. It's not an impulsive recovery. You can see here when this thing held support and it started to move off of that, it gapped up and was impulsively moving higher. This is just grinding, and it's really creating what looks to me like a flag. So there's your flag, right? You know, something like that. You've got the flagpole right there, and it looks like a breakdown would give you a continuation of, you know, to the downside. So first target 104.12. I think we hit that, get some sort of a reaction, maybe undercut it just briefly, and then recover. So we're going to watch for that in the short term. I think that is setting up. Okay, so a lot of these tech stocks I'm no longer short. We covered a lot, you know, I covered a lot of those shorts on that last drop, but this one I am short, Qualcomm. So this one I shorted down here. I noticed that it was holding support. I got out of the short for a small loss. The thing gapped up on earnings 12-13%, and I reshorted it right up here at resistance. So I've got my channel, my price channel, and because I had that marked out well in advance, when it gapped up right to resistance, I knew that was a pretty good area to reestablish a short. So I've gone ahead and done that. And so far, you know, it's, you know, slightly profitable, kind of just hanging in there. But I do expect it works its way down and probably does a gap fill right here at 129.39. So I'm looking for that. That's really the trade, is to gap fill or to get close, basically. Maybe we hit the bottom of this price channel and it doesn't actually gap fill. But we do have negative divergence here on the hourly chart. So I do think that it is set up at least for a short-term move down. And we have slight negative divergence on the daily chart as well. So negative divergence across multiple time frames at resistance. To me, it looks like a pretty good risk reward. Now we can, obviously, since we're in an upward price channel, we could continue to diverge and continue to make, you know, slightly higher prices. But I do think this thing being at resistance, I think we're going to get rejected. So I like this one still. This still looks good. Today, they're just, you know, it's just kind of hanging out in the area where it's been at the last few days. Run continues to get rejected. What they've done 2 days in a row now is gap it up in the morning and sell it off. And so you can see yesterday they gapped it, and it moved up a little bit, but then sold off the rest of the day. Today they gap it up right here and it sold off. I don't know if it's going to continue to sell off. I could easily see them running it up and doing a back test. I'll be adding to my short trade on a back test. So I'm going to just sit tight and stay short. If it runs up and tags resistance, I'll add. Otherwise, I'm looking for 44.67 for my first level, 36.40 for my next level, and 23.50 for my final level. Zoom, I don't have a position in this. I didn't like yesterday how it was really just hanging out there. It looked like it was going to be a false breakdown. Today, they gapped it up. So to me, as of right now, this is a false breakdown bear trap. And so I would be looking for a move possibly back up to the upper end of the price channel. We'll watch it. Or, you know, they could just kind of hang it. It could just hang in this area a little bit and then you get the breakdown. But until I see another impulsive break of this support line right here, I'm not really interested in shorting it. You know, and you could even go long right here at this area. The only reason why I don't like to go long is on this, especially big negative divergence here on the daily chart. So it tells me that it's going to break down. It just, you know, they're going to whip it first and make it look like it's not going to. That's what I think. I don't see bullish divergence here at the low. If I look at the hourly, let's see what we have. Yeah, there's no bullish divergence here on the hourly. You can see that basically we made a low right there, and price also made a low right there. So price is moving with momentum. Yes, momentum is moving higher here, but so is price. It's not diverging. So it doesn't tell me that anything's changed and the momentum is still to the downside. So that's why I don't like it long, but I don't want to be short until it breaks price support because it can continue to move higher and then break from up here. I don't know when it's going to break or if it's going to break, of course. So I want to see it before I trade it. Peloton looks like it's doing a kickback rally. So here is the trend line on Peloton going back to March lows. Just walking up, we walked up the trend line there. Started to get short right up here. This is where I initially took the short because it looked like it was going to come back down to the primary trend line, which is right here. And it did, tagged it, moved off of it, but then it broke that trend impulsively with a big 20% down gap. Now, when you're down 20% and then it sold off pretty impulsively, a lot of shorts are going to cover because that's obviously a huge move if they were short up here. And so we're starting to see the kickback rally. So if it wants to kick back up to resistance up here somewhere at some point in time, that could be an objective short. The only thing I don't like about shorting this one it's just not the best setup is there's no negative divergence. It has, it just has nothing that I can find on the daily. You can see here that the price was moving lower, or sorry, the momentum was moving lower, and so was price starting right here. So it never diverged and had a negative divergence. It just momentum started moving lower, and so did price. And I still don't see any negative divergence. If I go to the hourly, if I look at it, I just don't see any negative divergence basically. We have lower momentum, we have lower price, and so that's one reason why I'm just not the biggest fan of this one. I might, could take a small position, I guess, if you get up to this resistance, see if it works out. But I wouldn't take a full-size position on this one just because I don't have the negative divergence. Okay, Redfin, I took profit in this yesterday. It was a nice profitable trade. I think I was up about 12%. And I just decided that because some of these other these other COVID stocks were catching a bid, and Redfin hadn't quite caught it, but it was obviously starting to move up, I decided to take profit. So that one, we're just going to go ahead and let that be for now. We did break our trend, so maybe if we get back up to this level here at 48, about 48 or 49 roughly, depending on if we do it soon, then we might put in another negative divergence right here, just a possibility of what might happen. So that might be another area to start shorting this thing again. But for right now, it's kind of in the middle of the range. And I'm going to let this one just continue to do its thing. So in general, I'm pretty, I don't have huge positions and I don't have as many trades as I've previously had. I've got that BBY short. I'm still short that thing right here. I think it's going to break. Hasn't yet, but looks like it wants to. I've got some Qualcomm. I've got that ExxonMobil. We can look at that real quick. I'm long ExxonMobil. It's pulling back, and I'm looking to be a buyer on pullbacks. So if it wants to fill this gap possibly all the way down here, I'll probably add to my position. This position has bullish divergence right here, and it started to make its way higher. So I'm still waiting for that 41, but I don't want to add here. I want to add on pullbacks, and then I'll be selling up around 41. So still long that. I've got some SQ, still short SQ. This one hasn't hit any profit targets yet, so I'm still short. I'm only up on 1% on that one as of right now. But you can see it's not really going anywhere. It's just kind of hanging out. And we had this hourly trend line that broke, got short, came down, hit the first level of support. We're getting a reaction, but now I'm expecting it to move lower. Looking at the daily, big negative divergence here on SQ. That's been in play. So this recent high right here was a divergent high. So this daily divergence usually is good for a kind of a larger move down. So I'm looking for at minimum 135.42 and possibly lower. But for right now, 135.42, I think we should get a reaction around that level. I have also got that run, and we talked about that one. This one's just kind of hanging in there, but it looks weak. I have a little bit of Tesla short, and it's doing nothing basically. The Tesla's gone sideways, so I haven't been updating about it as much. We can look at it for a second. Yeah, you can see basically just a sideways range right here. We kind of move up, you move down, you go up, you move down. Just nothing's going on. So I'm just waiting for some sort of a catalyst or trigger to actually play out. But as of right now, hasn't done anything. I don't have a huge short position on it because I know this thing can run against you. But I do have a small short on it. So waiting for that one to kind of play out. And then I'm long this one, Joe. I haven't covered it recently, but I did talk about it in a couple weeks back that it was setting up for a bullish play, and I took that position yesterday basically. So here's what I had. Daily chart we're looking at, we got bullish divergence right there. So bullish divergence, just started. We had a bullish falling wedge right here. Broke out right there, and it just didn't do anything and I had resistance right here at this 32.38 or 32.40 basically, and it was just kind of hanging in there. Not, it didn't look like it wanted to break, but here it, broke and closed above, and then yesterday gapped up. That's an impulsive breakout. I took it long. So I'm looking for, up around this 35.30 area, and then probably the potential highs all the way up here at 40.66. Yeah, I like this one. So I'm long this one, and those are really all the positions that I have. Obviously, I'm looking at tan. My Lightspeed doesn't have any shares to short this thing right now, so I'm hoping that they get some. But so yeah, I'm hoping they have some shares to short by the time it triggers, but it's a nice uptrend on the daily chart right here. And you can see even had a little false breakdown right there. So that false breakdown or bear trap set up this impulsive move up here, which put in a divergent high. It looks like it's weakening. And so I've been watching it, but we need to see an impulsive breakdown of the trend line. We have bearish negative divergence. We've got everything that we need. We just need that trigger or breakdown of the trend line. Once we get that, I'm looking at 58.24 for the first level of support. And then, probably right around this 47.55. I'll have to kind of tighten it up and see where this thing, I'll have to find some more levels. But for now, we'll look at that level, 57. 50, we'll call it 58, somewhere right in there. Okay, guys, that's all I got for this morning. I'll get this video out. Leave me a thumbs up if you find value in the content, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.